The morning started like any other in Seoul. People walked to work, students rushed to school, and the smell of street food filled the air. But at exactly 9:15 a.m. everything changed. Admiral Kang Dae-ho stood on the bridge of the Korean destroyer Brave Tiger, his eyes fixed on the sky. What had been a clear blue morning was now dark with the shadows of massive ships. They appeared suddenly, without warning, blocking the sun like metal clouds. "Status report," Dae-ho ordered, his voice steady despite the fear building in his chest. "Sir, we count 37 unknown vessels," replied Officer Han. "They're positioning themselves over major cities worldwide. The largest one is directly above Seoul." Dae-ho picked up his phone. It was already ringing. "This is Admiral Kang," he answered. "Admiral, this is Defense Minister Bae. The President has called an emergency meeting. These ships are everywhere: New York, London, Moscow, Beijing, Tokyo. We need you at the Blue House immediately." As Dae-ho's helicopter flew toward the presidential office, he saw the true size of the alien vessel. It was enormous, at least 5 kilometers across, hovering silently above the city. Smaller ships circled around it like insects around a queen. Inside, the Blue House emergency room, world leaders joined by video call. Their faces showed the same shock and fear. "The United States has attempted communication," said the American president. No response. "We launched fighter jets for closer inspection. They were disabled somehow. The pilots are safe, but the aircraft simply stopped working when they got close." "China reports the same," said the Chinese premier. "Our weapons systems are not working near these vessels." The room fell silent when all screens suddenly changed to show a single image: a tall, thin being with gray-blue skin and large, dark eyes. "People of Earth," the being spoke in perfect English. "I am High. Commander Xylith of the Galactic Empire. Your planet is now under our control. We rule over 200 star systems. You will be the 201st. Your leaders will meet with me in 1 hour at these coordinates. Prepare to discuss the terms of your surrender." The screen went blank. "What are our options?" asked the Korean president, looking at the military commanders in the room. General Kim shook his head. "Our satellites show similar scenes worldwide. They have positioned themselves strategically. If these ships have weapons proportional to their size, they could destroy our major cities in minutes," finished Dae-ho. "We need to buy time," said Minister Bae. "We must send a diplomatic team to this meeting." The president nodded. "Admiral Kang, you will join Colonel Song Ji-woo from Military Intelligence. She speaks 12 languages and has a background in xenobiology. If anyone can find a weakness, it's her." 1 hour later, representatives from Earth's nations gathered at the Han River Park. A beam of light shot down from the main ship, and 3 alien beings descended. High Commander Xylith stood in the center, taller than the others, wearing what appeared to be ceremonial armor. "You have developed faster than expected," Xylith said, looking around at Seoul's skyline. "When our scouts visited this world 500 years ago, you were still using primitive weapons and animal transportation." Colonel Song Ji-woo stepped forward. She was shorter than most people in the delegation, but her presence commanded attention. "High Commander," she said with a slight bow, "I am Colonel Song Ji-woo of the Republic of Korea. We welcome you to Earth and wish to understand your intentions." Xylith's large eyes blinked slowly. "My intentions are simple. Your planet has resources we need. Your species has potential as workers. Submit to imperial rule and you will be treated fairly. Resist, and we will take what we want by force. Surely we can discuss terms that benefit both our peoples," Ji-woo replied calmly. "A partnership rather than conquest." The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. "You misunderstand. Your position. This is not a negotiation between equals. The Empire has conquered species far more advanced than yours." "May I ask how many ships you have brought?" Ji-woo asked. "Our fleet consists of 300 warships, currently positioned throughout your solar system," Xylith answered proudly. "The ones you see are merely a fraction of our power." Ji-woo nodded thoughtfully. "Impressive. But perhaps we could discuss this further. We need time to consult with all Earth nations." You have 24 hours, Xylith said sharply. After that, we will demonstrate our power by destroying one of your cities as an example. He pointed to the Seoul skyline. Perhaps this one. The other delegates gasped, but Jiwoo remained calm. 24 hours is acceptable. We will meet again, tomorrow. As the aliens ascended back to their ship, the American representative grabbed Jiwoo's arm. Are you crazy? We can't fight those ships. Did you see their technology? They crossed interstellar space. Jiwoo smiled slightly. Did you notice something about their ships? The design, the way they move? They use a form of anti-gravity propulsion, but it's inefficient. Their energy readings fluctuate. What does that matter? Asked the British delegate. They could still destroy our cities. It matters, said Admiral Kang, who had been quietly observing. Because it tells us their technology has limits. They're showing off, trying to intimidate us. Back at the emergency command center, world leaders argued about their options. Some wanted immediate surrender to save lives. Others suggested trying to fight despite the overwhelming odds. Our combined military forces can't match their technology, said the Russian president, but surrender means the end of human freedom. Not necessarily, Jiwoo said, entering the room with Admiral Kang. I have a plan, but it requires your trust. The Korean president nodded. Explain. We appear to surrender, but we ask for 1 week to prepare our people. During this time, we activate Protocol Sleeping Dragon. The room fell silent. That protocol hasn't been used in over a century, said Minister Bay. Most people don't even know it exists. Exactly, Jiwoo replied. Neither do the aliens. The next day, Earth's delegation met again with Xylith. The alien commander looked pleased, expecting surrender. Have you made your decision? He asked. Jiwoo stepped forward. We request 1 week to prepare our people for the transition. Many of our systems will need to be adjusted to accommodate your rule. Xylith's eyes narrowed. You test my patience. You have 48 hours, no more. As you wish, Jiwoo replied with a bow. As she rose, she added something that made Xylith pause. Though I should warn you, High Commander, what you've seen of Earth's defenses is merely our planetary guard. The real army hasn't even arrived yet. Xylith and his commanders exchanged looks before breaking into sounds of amusement. Your attempt at deception is amusing, but futile. Our scans show all your military capabilities. There is no hidden army. Jiwoo simply smiled. 48 hours, then. As the delegation walked away, Admiral Kang whispered, Was it wise to say that? Jiwoo's face became serious. It wasn't a bluff, Admiral. I've already sent the signal. Now we need to prepare our people for what comes next. High above Earth on the Imperial flagship, Xylith reviewed the scan data again. Could they have forces hidden beyond our sensor range? He asked his science officer. Impossible, the officer replied. We've scanned their entire solar system. There are no other significant military installations or fleets. The colonel was clearly attempting to create uncertainty. Xylith nodded, but something about the human woman's confidence bothered him. He had conquered many worlds, and most species showed fear or anger when faced with defeat. This Colonel Song had shown neither. Increase our sensor range, he ordered, and prepare the demonstration weapon. In 2 days, we will show these humans the price of defiance. Little did he know that deep beneath the surface of Earth, in hidden bunkers and secret facilities, humanity was awakening a power that the Galactic Empire could not imagine. The countdown had begun. Night fell over Seoul, but few people slept. The alien ships hung in the sky like giant dark moons, their lights pulsing softly. In homes across the city, families packed essential items, following emergency broadcasts that told them to prepare for possible evacuation. Deep beneath the mountains outside Seoul, Colonel Song Jiwoo walked through a long tunnel carved into solid rock. The facility had been built over 100 years ago, its existence known only to a select few in each generation. 2 armed guards stood at attention as she approached a massive steel door. Colonel Song, retinal scan required, said the computer voice. After the scan confirmed her identity, the huge door slid open. Inside was a command center unlike any other on Earth. While most military facilities used modern computers and screens, this room held strange technology that looked both advanced and ancient at the same time. General Kim Tae-young, an older man with silver hair and a weathered face, turned as Ji-woo entered. "Is it time?" he asked simply. Ji-woo nodded. "Yes. Activate Protocol Sleeping Dragon." Tae-young placed his hand on a smooth stone panel that began to glow with blue light. Voice recognition: General Kim Tae-young. Authorization code: Morning Star Rising. The room hummed to life. Lights flickered on across a large map of the solar system embedded in the center table. Small dots of light appeared, moving in formation. "How long until they arrive?" asked Ji-woo. "The nearest ships can be here in 6 hours. The main fleet will take 12, replied Tae-young. "But we need to buy more time. The Imperial ships will detect the approach once our forces enter the solar system." Ji-woo walked to another control panel. "Then we need to make sure their attention is focused elsewhere." In a different part of the facility, Admiral Kang Dae-ho met with Captain Park Sun-mi in a room filled with ancient books and artifacts. "Most of these world leaders don't even know why we're really here, do they?" Dae-ho asked, looking at a map of Earth from the 18th century hanging on the wall. Sun-mi shook her head. "Only a handful know the truth. Earth is not just our home, it's our museum, our time capsule, our reminder of who we once were." She picked up an old book. 2,000 years ago, humans started to leave Earth. Not all at once, but slowly. The first colonies were on Mars and the moons of Jupiter. Then we figured out how to bend space. We could travel to other stars. "But they left people behind," Dae-ho said. "Our ancestors." "Not left behind," Sun-mi corrected, "chosen to stay." Earth was set aside as a preservation world, a place where human culture could develop naturally, without the influence of advanced technology. She touched a hidden panel on the wall, revealing a glowing screen that seemed out of place among the ancient items. "The Human Confederation spans over 500 star systems now. Earth is our oldest and most sacred world." Dae-ho looked troubled. "If we're so powerful out there, why have we lived like this for so long? Why let Earth remain vulnerable?" "Because true strength comes from facing challenges," Sun-mi replied. "The humans who stayed on Earth developed differently than those who left. We preserved cultural diversity, languages, art, and music that might have been lost. We kept our connection to nature and our adaptability." In another room, President Bae met with 12 other world leaders. Unlike the public emergency meeting earlier, this was a much smaller group. "You all know why you're here," the president said. "Each of you represents a keeper nation, tasked with protecting Earth's secret." The German chancellor spoke up. "My grandfather told me stories, but I never truly believed them until now. Is it really true? Are there humans among the stars?" "Not just among the stars," President Bae said. "We rule them." He nodded to Ji-woo, who had just entered the room. She pressed a button on her wrist, and the air above the table shimmered. A three-dimensional map of the galaxy appeared, with hundreds of star systems highlighted in blue. "The blue areas represent the Human Confederation," Ji-woo explained. "The red areas are the Galactic Empire. They've been expanding for centuries, but they've always avoided the region of space we occupy." "Why?" asked the Nigerian president. "Because any scout ships they sent there never returned," Ji-woo said simply. "Our technology works differently than theirs. We don't fight against the natural forces of the universe, we work with them. Our ships and colonies exist partially in other dimensions, making them invisible to conventional scans." "Then why are they here now?" the Canadian Prime Minister asked. "Why attack Earth?" "They don't know Earth is connected to us," Tae-young explained, joining the meeting. "They think it's just an isolated primitive world, easy pickings." Above the Earth, Xylith paced on the bridge of his flagship. Something bothered him about the humans' response. Most species either fought desperately or begged for mercy when confronted by the Empire. These humans seemed too calm. "Commander," called one of his officers, "we're detecting unusual energy readings from the planet's surface." Xylith moved to the sensor display. What kind of readings? Unclear, sir. They appear to be coming from multiple locations, but they don't match any known human technology we've observed. Could they be weapons? Xylith asked. Negative. The energy pattern resembles communication signals of some kind, but they're not using any frequencies we've detected before. Xylith frowned. Who are they communicating with? Scan the entire solar system again. The officer worked the controls. Nothing, sir. No hidden fleets, no unauthorized vessels, just normal space traffic. Back on Earth, Jiwoo stood in a small garden inside the underground facility. Despite being far underground, real sunlight somehow filtered down through a complex system of mirrors and tunnels. She tended to a small bonsai tree as Minister Bay approached. Is it done? He asked. Jiwoo nodded. I've sent the full report to the Confederation. They know the Empire has found Earth. And they're coming? They're already on their way, Jiwoo replied. The nearest defense fleet was running exercises near Alpha Centauri. They'll arrive first. Can we hold out for 12 hours? Bay asked worriedly. Jiwoo smiled. We won't have to. I have a plan to keep the Empire busy. She looked at her watch. In fact, it should be starting right about now. At that moment, across the world, ordinary people began doing extraordinary things. In Tokyo, an elderly gardener touched a stone lantern in his garden, causing it to glow blue and emit a signal that scrambled imperial sensors. In Rio de Janeiro, a young street artist spray-painted a mural that suddenly projected a massive hologram of military ships that didn't actually exist. In Cairo, a museum curator opened an ancient Egyptian box, releasing nanobots that spread throughout the city, creating a defensive shield invisible to the naked eye. All across Earth, hidden technology was awakening, technology that had been disguised as ordinary objects for centuries. On the Imperial flagship, alarms began to sound. Sir, called the sensor officer. We're detecting, I don't understand. The readings keep changing. Xylith rushed to the console. Explain. One moment we detect advanced energy weapons, the next moment, nothing. Military installations are appearing and disappearing from our scans. It's as if their whole planet is shifting somehow. Xylith's eyes narrowed. It's a trick. Some kind of primitive cloaking technology. He turned to his second-in-command. Prepare the demonstration weapon. We'll show them what happens when they try to deceive the Empire. Little did he know that the deception had only just begun. The real surprise was still hours away, approaching silently through the depths of space in ships unlike any the Empire had ever encountered. The morning of the second day dawned with tension hanging in the air. Citizens across Seoul looked up at the massive Imperial ships with a mix of fear and strange hope. Rumors had spread overnight, whispers that Earth was not as helpless as, it seemed. In the Imperial flagship, High Commander Xylith prepared his demonstration weapon. The ship's main cannon could destroy a city with one shot. He would target a small, uninhabited island first as a warning. If the humans still refused to surrender, Seoul would be next. Begin charging the main cannon, Xylith ordered. Target the island at these coordinates. As his crew worked, a communication officer called out, Sir, we're receiving a request from Earth. A single human wishes to come aboard to discuss terms. Xylith considered this. Who is this human? He identifies himself as Lee Min-ho, a Korean diplomat. He claims to have authorization to negotiate Earth's surrender. Very well, Xylith said after a moment. Allow him to approach, but scan his vessel for weapons. 30 minutes later, a small plane shuttlecraft docked with the Imperial flagship. Out stepped a man of average height wearing a simple dark suit. He carried no visible weapons and had no escort. Welcome aboard, human, Xylith said as Min-ho was brought to the bridge. You wish to discuss your planet's surrender? Min-ho bowed politely. High Commander, thank you for meeting with me. I've been sent to ask a few final questions before we complete our surrender. Ask your questions, Xylith said impatiently. But know that my patience grows thin. We have already given you more time than most worlds receive. Min-ho nodded. Of course. My first question. In the Empire's history, have you ever encountered humans before? Xylith looked surprised by the question. No. Your world is our first contact with your species. I see, Minho said, walking slowly around the bridge looking at the various control stations. And have you explored the region of space near Orion's arm? The alien commander stiffened slightly. That region is problematic. We lost several scout ships there. Strange energy distortions make it difficult to navigate. Final question, Minho said, now standing near the main weapons console. Do you know what a Trojan horse is? Before Xylith could answer, Minho moved with shocking speed. He touched his wrist, and his entire appearance changed. The simple suit transformed into a form-fitting combat uniform with strange symbols. From his sleeves appeared two small devices that he quickly attached to the weapons console and the communications array. What is this? Xylith roared, reaching for his weapon. But he found himself unable to move, frozen in place by some invisible force. This, Minho said calmly, is Earth's first strike. The devices pulsed with blue light, and suddenly every screen on the bridge went dark. The ship's alarms began to sound, but they cut off abruptly, leaving an eerie silence. What have you done? Xylith demanded, still unable to move. I've isolated your flagship from the rest of your fleet, Minho explained. Your weapon systems are disabled, and your communications are cut off. But don't worry, I didn't come here to kill anyone. With remarkable ease, Minho walked back toward the docking bay, Imperial crew members frozen in place as he passed. At the doorway, he turned back. Oh, and High Commander, I'm not actually a diplomat, I'm what we call a special operative. You'll want to look out your viewport in about 5 minutes. The show is about to begin. With that, he was gone, his shuttle, detaching from the flagship and dropping quickly toward Earth. Exactly 5 minutes later, as the paralysis effect wore off, Xylith rushed to the main viewport. What he saw made his blood run cold. All across Earth's surface, strange transformations were taking place. What had appeared to be ordinary buildings were changing shape. Simple radar installations morphed into advanced weapon platforms. Primitive, satellites repositioned themselves, revealing hidden capabilities. Sir, called one of his officers who had regained mobility. Earth's military forces are changing. On their screens, they watched in disbelief as Earth's seemingly primitive jet fighters transformed mid-flight. Metal panels shifted, engines reconfigured, and suddenly, the aircraft moved with impossible speed and agility. In orbit, several small, human space stations that had been deemed harmless were now unfolding like flowers, revealing weapon systems far more advanced than anything the Empire possessed. How is this possible? Xylith demanded. Our scans showed nothing like this. His science officer looked up from a console, face pale. Sir, they've been using some kind of holographic technology. Everything we scanned was disguised. Xylith slammed his fist down. It doesn't matter. We still have 300 ships. Commence bombardment of their major cities immediately. But as the Imperial fleet moved into attack position, they found themselves targeted by precision strikes from Earth's newly revealed defenses. Shots fired from ground-based weapons hit with impossible accuracy, targeting engine ports and weapon systems without causing catastrophic damage. They're disabling our ships, not destroying them, the tactical officer reported in confusion. On Earth, Colonel Song Ji-woo stood in a control room that had completely transformed. Gone were the ancient-looking controls, replaced by advanced holographic interfaces. She watched the battle unfolding with calm satisfaction. The confusion tactic is working, she told General Kim Tae-young. Their fleet is in disarray. Tae-young nodded. Minho's mission was successful. The flagship is isolated and their command structure is breaking down. Ji-woo checked her watch. The first Confederation ships will arrive in less than an hour. We just need to hold them off until then. In homes and buildings across Earth, ordinary citizens were revealing extraordinary secrets. An old woman in a rural Korean village opened a hidden cellar door, revealing a sophisticated communications array. A teacher in London dismissed his class early, then activated a defense shield that covered the entire school. A farmer in Kenya uncovered a landing pad hidden beneath his fields, ready to receive incoming ships. For generations, Certain families had been keepers, hiding advanced technology in plain sight, waiting for this moment. Back on the Imperial flagship, now operating on emergency power, Xylith struggled to regain control of his fleet. Without the flagship's coordination, each ship was acting independently, some attacking, others retreating from Earth's unexpected defenses. "Get me a direct link to the nearest Imperial cruiser," Xylith commanded. "Communications are still down." "Sir," his officer replied. "We can only use emergency channels with limited range." As Xylith watched helplessly, several of his ships began reporting a new development. Strange energy readings appearing at the edge of the solar system. "What now?" he growled. The science officer studied the readings, his expression growing more alarmed. "Sir, these energy signatures, they don't match anything in our database. But they're massive, and they're approaching fast." Xylith turned to look at the long-range scanner display. Dozens of entry points were opening in space itself, like tears in the fabric of reality. And through these openings, something was coming. "Magnify the image," he ordered. As the view zoomed in, Xylith saw the first of the ships emerging. Unlike the bulky, intimidating designs of Imperial vessels, these were sleek and elegant, almost beautiful in their construction. But their size, the lead ship was easily twice as large as his flagship. "Sir," his second-in-command said quietly, "I believe that human woman was telling the truth." "About what?" Xylith asked, not taking his eyes off the screen. "The real army. It's finally arriving." The space at the edge of the solar system rippled like water. One by one, massive ships emerged from what looked like tears in reality itself. They did not use normal engines or jump technology like the Empire's ships. Instead, they seemed to step from one part of the universe to another as easily as walking through a door. Admiral Yang Hyun-suk stood on the bridge of the human Confederation flagship, Dauntless. Unlike the cramped, utilitarian design of Imperial ships, the Dauntless bridge was spacious and filled with natural light. Plants grew in special areas, and the walls displayed images of Earth's landscapes. "Status report," Hyun-suk asked calmly. "Fleet. Arrival at 87%, Admiral," replied his second-in-command. "All ships report ready for combat. We have confirmed visual on the Imperial fleet surrounding Earth." Hyun-suk nodded. "Open a channel to all human Confederation vessels." A soft tone indicated the connection was ready. "This is Admiral Yang. Many of you have never seen Earth except in historical records. Today we return to our ancestral home. Our mission is to protect Earth and its people from Imperial aggression. Remember, disable, don't destroy. The Empire's soldiers are not our true enemy. Their leaders and their policies are. Operation Homecoming begins now." Throughout the solar system, over 3,000 human Confederation warships moved into formation. They ranged in size from small, fast attack craft to massive carriers larger than small moons. Each ship bore the symbol of the human Confederation, a blue Earth surrounded by stars. On the Imperial flagship, alarms sounded as the sensors detected the incoming fleet. "How many?" Xylith demanded. "We've counted over 2,000 ships, so..." "Far, Commander," the science officer replied, his voice shaking. "And more are still arriving." "Impossible," Xylith slammed his fist on the console. "No civilization has that many warships, not even the Empire." "Sir," his tactical officer interrupted, "we're receiving a system-wide transmission from the unknown fleet. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, even our secure channels." "Put it through," Xylith ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing a human male in a simple but elegant uniform. Unlike the intimidating, heavily armored uniforms of Imperial officers, his clothing looked almost casual, with minimal decoration. "This is Admiral Yang Hyun-suk of the Human Confederation flagship Dauntless," the man said. "Your fleet has entered protected space and attacked a human preservation world without provocation. You are ordered to stand down immediately and prepare for diplomatic discussions." Xylith stared at the screen in disbelief. "Human Confederation? There is no such entity in our star charts." "That's because we chose not to be found," Admiral Yang replied simply. "Earth is one of our most sacred worlds, a living museum of our origins, our cultures, and our history. We have hidden it and protected it for thousands of years. You're bluffing, Xylith said, regaining some of his confidence. These are holographic projections, like the weapons you hid on Earth. You can't possibly have a fleet this size. Admiral, Yang smiled slightly. I understand your disbelief. Perhaps a demonstration is in order. At that moment, a single human Confederation vessel, smaller than the Imperial flagship, moved forward. It positioned itself between Earth and the nearest Imperial cruiser, which had been preparing to fire on Sol. What is that ship doing? Xylith demanded. The answer came quickly. The human vessel emitted a pulse of blue-white energy that spread outward like a wave. As it passed over the Imperial cruiser, all of its weapon systems went dark. The cruiser drifted, powerless but intact. One ship, one pulse, Admiral Yang said. We could disable your entire fleet the same way, but we prefer to resolve this peacefully. Throughout the solar system, human Confederation ships took up positions around Earth, forming a protective shield between the planet and the Imperial fleet. Their designs were unlike anything the Empire had seen. Some looked like giant silver leaves, others like crystal snowflakes, and some seemed to shift shape as they moved. On Earth, people gathered in streets and on rooftops, watching the sky, as the massive ships became visible even in daylight. Cheers erupted across the planet as human Confederation flags unfurled from buildings that had previously appeared ordinary. In the underground command center, Jiwoo, Taeyong, and the other leaders watched the space battle displays with relief. The timing was perfect, Taeyong said. Another few hours and the Empire might have started bombing cities. We still have a problem, Jiwoo pointed out. The Imperial fleet is surrounded, but Xylith still has weapons locked on Sol. He might order a final strike out of desperation. At that moment, Minho entered the room. He had returned safely after his mission to the Imperial flagship. That's being taken care of, he said confidently. Admiral Yang is deploying the shield ships. From the Dauntless and several other large carriers, thousands of smaller vessels emerged. They were about the size of cars and shaped like discs. Moving with incredible coordination, they positioned themselves in a grid pattern above every major Earth city. What are they doing? Asked President Bay. Creating a defense shield, Minho explained. Watch. The small ships began to emit a golden light that spread downward, forming a transparent dome over each city. When the Imperial sensors targeted these shields, they found them impenetrable. Aboard the Imperial flagship, Xylith was furious. Fire on Sol! Now! Sir, his weapons officer replied nervously. We can't penetrate their shields, and 3 human Confederation warships have us targeted. If we fire, they'll disable us instantly. Xylith realized he was out of options. His mighty fleet was surrounded and effectively neutralized without a single shot being fired. The technological gap between the Empire and this human Confederation was clearly vast. Sir, his communications officer called. We're receiving a message from the Earth Command Center. Colonel Song Jiwoo wishes to speak with you. The screen changed to show Jiwoo, now wearing a formal uniform with the Human Confederation insignia. High Commander Xylith, she said politely. As I mentioned earlier, the real army has now arrived. The Human Confederation controls over 500 star systems in the region you know as Orion's Arm. We have remained hidden from the Empire by choice, not by necessity. Why reveal yourselves now? Xylith asked bitterly. You could have continued your deception. Because it's time for the Empire to learn that there are other ways to exist among the stars, Jiwoo replied. The Confederation doesn't conquer. We connect. We don't subjugate. We share. She leaned forward slightly. Admiral Yang invites you to Earth for formal diplomatic talks. Come see who we truly are. Perhaps our civilizations can learn from each other rather than fight. Xylith looked out at the vast human Confederation fleet surrounding his ships. He had no choice. But more than that, he was curious. Who were these humans who had hidden such power for so long? And what else might they be hiding? I accept the invitation, he said finally. As the sun set over Sol that evening, citizens looked up to see not just the Imperial ships, but thousands of human Confederation vessels glittering like new stars in the darkening sky. For the first time in generations, Earth's people could openly acknowledge their place in a much larger human family that spanned the stars. And aboard the Dauntless, Admiral Yang looked down at the blue planet, humanity's first home, and prepared to welcome its prodigal children back. The old palace of Gyeongbokgung stood in the heart of Seoul, its traditional architecture a striking contrast to the modern buildings surrounding it. For this special day, the palace had been restored to its full historical glory. Fresh paint brightened the wooden columns and colorful flags flew from the curved rooftops. In the main courtyard, an unusual meeting was about to take place. 3 groups gathered under the bright morning sun: Earth's representatives, the Human Confederation, delegation, and the Imperial envoys. High Commander Xylith stepped into the courtyard with 4 of his officers. He looked around with new eyes, seeing beauty in the simple ancient architecture he had previously dismissed as primitive. Admiral Yang Hyun-suk walked forward to greet him. Instead of a military uniform, he wore traditional Korean hanbok clothing, elegant but simple. "Welcome to Gyeongbokgung Palace," Yang said with a slight bow. "This building has stood for over 700 years. It has been destroyed and rebuilt many times, a symbol of human resilience." Xylith returned the gesture awkwardly. "Your civilization continues to surprise me, Admiral. Yesterday I thought you were primitives. Today I find you control more star systems than the Empire." "Not control," Yang corrected gently. "We are part of them, as they are part of us." They moved to a large circular table set in the center of the courtyard. Colonel Song Ji-woo was already seated there, along with General Kim Tae-young, President Bae, and Dr. Yoon Ji-yoon, Earth's leading expert on alien biology. As the talks began, Dr. Yoon addressed the fundamental question. "You wish to know how we hid an entire civilization from you," she said to Xylith. "The answer lies in our approach to space itself." She activated a small device on the table, creating a hologram of the galaxy. "Most spacefaring species, including your empire, treat space like an ocean, something to cross as quickly as possible. You force your way through it with engines and jump drives." The hologram showed an Imperial ship pushing forward, leaving disturbances in space behind it. "We learned a different approach," Ji-yoon continued. "We don't fight against space, we work with it. Our ships and colonies exist partially in other dimensions. We bend light around them, making them invisible to conventional scans." "Impossible," said the Imperial science officer. "Such technology would require energy levels beyond anything we can produce." "Not if you work with natural cosmic phenomena instead of against them," Ji-yoon replied. "Look at this palace, built with simple tools, yet standing for centuries. Sometimes the oldest ways have wisdom that new technology forgets." As the discussion continued, Ji-woo explained humanity's unique history. 2,000 years ago, humans began to leave Earth. But we made a decision other species did not. We designated Earth as a preservation world, a place where human culture could develop naturally, maintaining our connection to our origins. "But why?" asked Xylith, genuinely curious now. "Why hold yourselves back?" President Bae answered. "Because we saw what happened to other advanced species. They became dependent on their technology. When their machines failed, they couldn't survive. We wanted to preserve the skills and adaptability that helped humanity survive for thousands of years before we reached the stars. Families like mine chose to remain on Earth," General Kim added. "We became keepers, hiding advanced technology, while living simple lives. We kept human culture, art, music, and languages alive. We preserved our diversity." Admiral Yang nodded. "This diversity became our greatest strength. When the Confederation faces a problem, we don't all think the same way. We find creative solutions because we think differently from each other." Xylith looked troubled. "The Empire crushes diversity. We force all worlds to follow our ways." "And how has that worked for your people?" Yang asked quietly. "We struggle with rebellion. Many worlds resist our rule," Xylith admitted. "And our technology has stopped advancing. We haven't made a truly new discovery in over 300 years." As they spoke, citizens of Seoul went about their daily lives around them. Children played in the palace gardens. Street vendors sold food outside the walls. The diplomatic meeting hadn't been hidden. In fact, it was being broadcast worldwide. Your people don't seem afraid, Xylith observed. Yesterday they faced destruction. Today they smile and continue their lives. Human resilience, Jiwoo explained. We've faced disasters, wars, and hardships throughout our history. We rebuild. We continue. After hours of discussion, Admiral Yang made a formal proposal. The Human Confederation offers peace to the Galactic Empire. We will share our approach to working with cosmic forces rather than against them. In exchange, you will recognize Earth and all Confederation territories as sovereign and independent. Xylith was silent for a long moment. I cannot speak for the Emperor, he said finally, but I will recommend accepting your offer. Your technology clearly surpasses ours. We could destroy each other in war or learn from each other in peace. As the meeting concluded, Jiwoo and Xylith walked together through the palace gardens. Cherry blossom petals fell around them like pink snow. There's something I don't understand, Xylith said. If you've been watching us for centuries, why didn't you stop the Empire's expansion before? Why allow us to conquer so many worlds? We tried a different approach, Jiwoo replied. Confederation agents have been working within your empire for generations, slowly changing your policies from within. Violence is easy. True change is difficult and takes time. She stopped by a small pond where fish swam in clear water. Look at these fish. They don't know we're watching them. They think their pond is the entire world. Like we thought our empire was the greatest power in the galaxy, Xylith said, understanding. The universe is bigger and stranger than any of us imagine, Jiwoo said with a smile. Perhaps there are civilizations watching us just as we watch these fish. As the sun began to set, citizens of Seoul gathered in the streets. Human Confederation ships still filled the sky, their lights turning on as darkness fell. But now Imperial ships flew alongside them peacefully. On a hillside overlooking the city, Jiwoo and Xylith watched as Seoul transformed before their eyes. Buildings that had appeared ordinary now partially revealed their true nature, ancient and modern at the same time, with technology thousands of years more advanced than the Empire's best achievements. It was all here the whole time, Xylith said in wonder. We just couldn't see it. Jiwoo nodded. The best place to hide is in plain sight. Your words from our first meeting make sense now, Xylith admitted. The real army hasn't even arrived yet. You weren't bluffing. We never are, Jiwoo replied with a small smile. That night, as news of the peace agreement spread across Earth, celebrations began around the planet. For the first time in centuries, the full truth of humanity's place in the galaxy was shared, openly with all Earth's people. Children looked up at the stars with new understanding, not as distant, unreachable points of light, but as homes where their extended human family lived. The barriers between Earth and the stars had finally fallen, and in the Galactic Emperor's distant palace, an urgent message arrived from Commander Xylith, containing a simple warning that would soon spread throughout the galaxy. Beware the quiet worlds. Sometimes the most powerful civilizations are the ones you never see coming.